Hey everybody, welcome back to another Tip Tuesday by Performance Designs. My name is Bo Reby. What we want to do over the next couple months is we're going to be bringing you a few different techniques of S-folds and putting the canopy into the bag. This is something that I can explain it one way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to resonate with you. So what we decided to do is grab a handful of people that work at PD, whether in engineering, marketing, constant jumpers out in the field, and they're going to help us show you their technique of doing this. So today we're going to look at Amanda's, and then a couple weeks later we'll look at someone else's. So hopefully this helps. If it's not working for you, just stay tuned because there's a lot of different ways to do this, and you just want to find one that works for you.
I've kept my knees on the slider grommets to keep control of the slider while I've been pushing the air out of the canopy. The idea here, we never want to use our fingers to manipulate the fabric, but you can use the palm of your hands to bring everything towards the center and try to make the cocoon as narrow as possible. We want to try and set ourselves up for success by starting with a width that is at least the width of the bag that we're trying to put it into. So in order for me to keep control of everything underneath the center cell here, I'm going to go about halfway, take the flat palms of my hands, again pushing everything towards the center, and I'm going to grab all of the bulk underneath to keep this from spilling out while I move to the side of the canopy. I'm going to put one knee right where my hands were to keep good tension on the lines, and I'm going to start making my first S-fold. Hand into the grommet, about on a 210 like we're packing here, about halfway between the warning label and where my knee is in the center of the canopy. I want the grommets to be away from the edge of the S-fold here so that they're nice and secure in between the two sets of folds. Sometimes you can use the tape inside of the canopy as a gauge to make sure that you don't make this first S-fold too large. While I'm working on my second S-fold, I'm going to put my knee on top of the first fold that I've made. See if I can get any more air out of the package here. So now I just need to complete my second S-fold. So I want to make the crease about halfway between where my knee is and the top of all the bulk here. So I'm going to go again with the flat palms in my hands, push everything towards the center, grab underneath, pull the canopy up like I'm going to give it a good hug, use my free hand to complete that fold, and I'm using my knee to keep tension on all this bulk to keep it from spilling out. I'm going to put my hand on the slider grommet so that I can hop off to the side here. Put the second fold on top. So again, my slider grommets are nestled pretty far inside the two sets of fold there. That's going to make sure that the slider stays where it's supposed to. So now I'm going to prepare the bag with the mouth opening towards the container and the flap flat on the floor. Instead of me taking the canopy and putting it inside the bag, I'm going to bring the bag around the canopy. So one side at a time. I'm going to get rid of all of this bulk here. My line attachments are secured inside that first set of S-folds, so this is just fabric to manage. I'm going to take the bag. I want this bottom corner of the folded canopy to be in the bottom corner of this bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it inside out, and I'm going to use my hands as a little pincher to grab. And I'm just going to grab the bottom corner, pull the bag around to the center, put my knee on it to anchor it from being pulled around to the side, while I lift the whole package here and use my forearm to place the flap flat on the floor. So now I have the bag in the same orientation as it was before I started putting the canopy inside of it. The flap is flat on the floor, opening is facing the container. All I've got to do is manage this fabric here. Notice how I've used my foot kind of to stop the canopy from spilling out this way while I was working with the other side, putting it in the bag. And make sure that the PCA attachment is going to be in the bottom there. I'm going to use my left hand now to grab the whole side of the canopy. I can pick the whole thing up, and I am not going to let go with my left hand until everything is inside of the bag. Usually I can find the lid and start working some of the bulk in with my thumb over here on this side. Once you get the first part of that fold inside of the mouth of the bag, you're pretty much home free. All you have to do, little oppositional force here, you grab the flap of the bag, push your left hand into the bottom corner, and at this point, the bag will manage the rest of the bulk for you. So, you can turn the container up, and I will use my legs to help control the fabric. And I'm bringing the rubber band to the grommet as opposed to trying to pull it across the pack job and overstretching the rubber band. Much easier to do this with the legs. To make my first stow, I'll scoot the bag up just a little bit, leave a little bit of slack in case there is higher snatch forces pulling the bag off my back. Double stow. It does not matter which side you start with. As long as we keep going to the opposite side.